Hello, Dragoons. My name is Alex, and welcome back to South Park: The Stick of Truth. In the last video, we managed to get Craig out of detention, and now we need to head on over to the Kingdom of Koopa Keep. But before that, I wanted to take care of a few things before, actually getting started. And right here, I forgot that I needed something. So I just stay a couple of fast travels later, and we will get to where we need to go. So, basically, okay. So, what I was forgetting was was that book that Jimbo advertised to us. Somehow I forgot to pay that. Well, I forgot to pay for it, I should say. So, yeah, it is fairly cheap and is under the miscellaneous tab, so it's not very difficult to find. However, there are like a couple of things here that are a one-time deal. So if you don't get it, then you don't finish the side quest. So, just pay attention to everything. Like, pay attention to almost everything you got. Okay. So for Kenny's house, it's a rabid junkyard dog. It's well, actually, this is the first Okay, basically, this enemy will cause a condition called screwed. Now, see, right there. Now, screwed is basically a death sentence. Like, after a couple of turns, the player will die. Well, I shouldn't say player. I should say the character will die. Because it's only a game over if you do not. Well, it's only a game over if both you and your buddy are down. So, yeah, just bear that in mind. But other than that, the rabid junkyard dog is not terribly difficult, especially at this point in the game. But it can be a little weird at times. So now all we gotta do is just talk with Cartman, and things can progress a little smoothly. But also we rank up in the world, actually. So, after just being a regular douchebag, we're now a Sir Douchebag, which is a bit of a higher ranking. Rankings don't really affect anything, except they give you new costumes and weapons and stuff like that, and they all reflect the class that you chose. So I get more thief-related attire since I picked the thief class. Anyway, so we have one more thing to take care of before we can go and find the Stick of Truth again. Basically, Carmen is going to teach us our second magic, which is Cup of Spell. And this is pretty handy for the actual environment. So, basically from now on, sometimes you'll see flames out in the overworld, and you can use your Cup of Spell in order to cause a small explosion, which is very nice. Also in combat, you can. Well, sorry. Before you even have a chance to engage in battle, you can use Cup of Spell in order to cause some gross out to your enemy. but I don't really use this. It's something you can do, I just don't really use it because bleeding is far superior in my opinion. Because bleeding stacks, and that can do so much damage in such a little amount of time, you know? And unlike burning, unless they heal it, bleeding is permanent. So, yeah. Though the regeneration factor, which will come into play a lot later for some enemies, that can be a bit of a pain in the ass, so yeah, it's whatever. Okay, so now... Okay, so before we head on over to the inn, there's one more thing that I need to take care of. I want to get some better armor, because these will add some additional perks. Although, this is the last armor that I'll get from the shop. Well, actually, no. This is not the last armor that I will get from the shop, because there is one more that I'll get to way later in the game. So, and after a long, yeah, the color debate. Basically, there are crayons that you can find throughout the world, and those are dyes for your clothes. Now, some clothes cannot change their dyes, and even then, it's only a primary and secondary thing. So, you can have an all white with a yellow trim, or an all black with a silver trim, something like that. I guess the reason why was to not only make your character stand out, but also not to take your attention away from the main characters, because, you can tell with Cartman, he looks a little different than what he normally does, but he still has the basics of Cartman, like the yellow, the blue, and even the shades of red. You know, those are classic traits of Cartman. Even with Butters, his main thing is teal, and he's mainly wearing teal. Kenny, of course, still has his hoodie, because it's not Kenny. It's not Kenny without that hood. You know what I mean? But as we'll get into, some other characters look as they should, but with some slight alterations. For example, the Bard here, who actually I relate to too much with. Jimmy! I'm sorry. I know that's how Timmy says his name, but I like doing it with Jimmy because, I mean, well, dude has charisma, okay? You need to give him that. Also, with as a relation thing, he tends to stutter his words a lot, like I do. So, and fun fact, you can let him stutter until he gets it right, but you have the option to skip it so you can get a move on, which is what I did. Although later on there is a side quest involving Jimmy, and you cannot skip that. So just as a warning, no, you cannot skip everything that Jimmy says. Even though, why would you? He is a roast master. That's all I'm saying. Now, I don't know. Well, okay. So for some reason, whenever I try to block, sometimes my controller doesn't like to register the button, or maybe I just do it too early. I don't really know, but yeah, that's a bit of a bummer. Now, you can you can use a summon for this fight, although I choose not to because, well, I want to show that you can do it without needing a summon. So, yeah. Basically, what I like to do is just have Butters go for the sword guy and have your character go for the archers. Because the archers are a bit of a pain in the ass to deal with, especially with their barbed wire arrows, which will cause bleeding. Though thankfully, once the front guy is down, you can just go and wail on them. But also, I probably should have explained what Jimmy was doing. So, basically, as a bard, Jimmy has magical music, for lack of a better term, and the music can be used for just about anything. Well, I say just about anything, but that's not entirely true. The idea is that Jimmy is giving his his party buffs and debuffs, like attack up and regeneration, but you know, is what it is. And also, I'm pretty sure that you noticed that the fire and the cup of spell gives a small explosion, which yeah, it does. Now, I'm also taking care of this a little bit early than intended, because for the eventual fight, it's gonna be such a breath of fresh air. But anyway, I got no idea how that other guy fainted. By the way, I got no idea. But you know, typically you just need to take care of one, and then the other two are going to fall like dominoes. But yeah, it's not that big a fight, and it didn't really add a whole lot to it. So, in terms of the game that the boys are playing, it's freaking ketchup. Basically, the Grand Wizard is on Death's doormat, and with his final breath, he tells a new kid to go and save Kenny because, well, you know, she's a girl and what they're gonna do in these kinds of stories. But I really don't like it. Okay, so Jimmy is gonna be the ultimate end boss for this dungeon, let's say. Well, I say that, but it's pretty obvious. Also, I think you can do one or the other with that, but I don't really know. But Token, you can't say that. Why'd they make him do that? Ugh. Okay. Now, this dude right here is going to be a pain in the ass because of, well, not only his sword has fire, but he's also wearing a gas mask, meaning that your magic is not really going to do anything. So your best bet is to use your stun attack, which is the second hero power you learn in the game. It may not do much, but at least it'll stop his channeling. So, at least there's that. And I blocked too early there. Okay, so the channeling is going, and mugging. Or mug. At least that's what it is for thief. There you go. Stun is going to be your ultimate friend unless the enemy is immune to it. Don't ask me which ones are immune, because I can never frickin' remember. So, and I got no idea why there's another stack of cure potion there. I guess it's a glitch. I don't know. But anyway, so now that's taken care of. This fight should be over fairly soon, considering that well, like as I mentioned earlier, bleeding is disgusting in this game because, well, for one, it can stack, but also do a bunch of chip damage. Like, see that? See that? Compared to all this health, that's a good chunk. And the backstab, which will add 5 times bleeding. I probably should have done that earlier, but it's whatever. And Butters finishes it off. Thanks, Butters. So, Token is gonna go and, well, actually, Token, Tweak, and Craig are gonna deal with Cartman while we go after Kenny. Not Kenny. Blech. Jimmy. We go after Jimmy and we go and save Kenny, which is not that hard, actually. You know, Kenny is right through that door over there, and yeah, like it is a fairly simple puzzle. So, like, it's just a few things that you need to shoot down and break and all that jazz. So, it's not complicated whatsoever. Oh, and you can come back here later, but there isn't much a point to doing that unless, you know, you want to get a few things that you missed, but I don't know. Now, with level 5, we gain access to a new power, but honestly, for the Thief, I think it's one of the weaker ones. Well, oh, actually, I shouldn't say I think, because I know that physically speaking, it's one of the weaker ones, but also it doesn't really do much for the Thief. Like, basically, you jump in the air, mash the X button, and then your character comes down with a massive thud that barely does any damage. I believe the Warrior has a better version of this, but I could be wrong on that. And now for the rest of the inn, Kenny is our buddy. So, and I believe this is the last time we actually get to use his buddy command. I like this line. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I just like that line too much. Okay, so now we... Oh, crap. Phone, damn it. Basically, you're just paying attention to where the fires are at, where the enemies are at, things like that. So, yeah. And you've seen this before, but down in the basement, well, actually, like, when an enemy is all alone, they will freak out and start to get into a semi-fetal position. You can just run over, whack them, and then and it's an instant win. The best I can think of is, like, Earthbound. Like, Earthbound had a similar mechanic to that, but I don't really know. Anyway, so now we get to the fight with Jimmy. Well, actually, Jimmy has one more stuttering match, so we had to do that. Fine, you want to throw down, bro? Kick his ass, douchebag. Douchebag. I'm sorry. I like doing South Park voices, okay? They're pretty fun. But now, Jimmy is a bit of an interesting fight because, well, for one, he has the rats on his side. That is a rat, sir! But, anyway. Thief has a bunch of things that can just straight up attack him, like backstab, for example. Now, all right. This is one of Kenny's attacks. Basically, you just need to shake the stick until the rats have calmed down, so that Kenny can summon a tsunami. Oh, Right. And because Jimmy's a bard, he can use bardic abilities like a sleep spell in order to gain a couple of turns of combat. So for me, what I'm doing now is that I'm using speed potions so that way I can not only get some more bleeding in on this guy, but also do some damage. And I figured, why not try that new ability? Yeah, see, I smack him with a mace, but it barely does any kind of damage, so is what it is. Now, I went with the darts in this case because I wanted the bleeding, and also that rock kind of hurts, so be careful on that one. And yeah, as a bard, Jimmy doesn't really have that great of defenses, but now he's channeling his brown note attack. Now, what that does is that it causes you to build up your mana. However, this brings us into a mechanic known as mana overload. In battle, when you take a mana potion and you have practically full mana, or just like or like in the critical range, then you'll shit your pants and lose all of your mana. That is rather unfortunate. Well, it can be unfortunate. So, for me, it's best to just stop Jimmy with my mug ability, so that way the move doesn't go through. And no, you can't use your magic on him because he was wearing a cloth that was covering his face. So, But anyway, with Jimmy defeated and a stick of truth back in the human hands, it's a job well done. And now we are officially a member of Cartman's crew. But this actually brings, but I think, well, actually I think this ends the third act of the game. Well, actually, this leads to the third act. Well, no, it's not the third act. I'm sorry. This will lead into the finale of the first act of the game. Basically for me, acts in this game are divided into 3 separate layers. 3 days, I should say. So you have day 1, which is trying to explore the town, getting used to the characters, the mechanics, and all that jazz. But it all ends at night, and if you stay out too late, your parents will come and find you. And of course, you'll be grounded. But hey, I mean, like, at least it's a reasonable thing to ground you for, unlike Butter's parents. But it's whatever. But and I also need to figure out what I am going to do for the end sequence of the video, because oh boy, we get into some crap that YouTube is not gonna like. And I put warnings at the beginning of the videos, so just covering my bases there. But I don't want this video getting taken down, so I'll have to think of something, like maybe a black bar or something. I'll figure something out, okay? But anyway, so yeah, the first act will end at night, and in night 1's case, it's the visitors, which haven't been a thing for a while, as far as I remember. They were a main thing in the early seasons. Like, there was an Easter egg, like, almost every episode, but I don't know. Oh boy, yeah, this is what I was talking about. If you play the game for yourself and not watch it on YouTube, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. But good God, how did they get this past censors? My God, like I get South Park is just, I get South Park is just like built different, but this goes well beyond that. Anyway, so, as I'm trapped on this alien ship, I think I'll just end the video here. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to leave a like, comment down below, and subscribe to the channel for more content. The next milestone that we'll be celebrating is 500 subscribers, and if possible, I'd like to hit that by June. Come on, guys, I have confidence that we can do it. Until next time, Celestial Goons, remember, reach for the stars. And don't be like this.
Stuff you put up with living in a remote little mountain town. At least we don't have to deal with traffic. Hey, you broke free. Kid, you have an incredible control of your asshole. Get me loose too.